Welcome back to the deep dive. For so many people, what happens after their head hits the pillow is, well, it's just information overload,
Right. It feels like
total
chaos.
chaos.
Yeah.
They view dreams as brain garbage,
Yeah.
right? Like just
Uh-oh.
random junk film the brain produces while the CPU is, idling.
And look, if you only see dreams through that highly analytical waking mind, which is always acting like a strict gatekeeper, that view is completely understandable. It just seems too messy to take seriously.
But our sources today suggest we might be missing the point entirely. We're diving into the idea that dreams aren't just a side effect of sleep. They might be the one place in existence where you are absolutely free.
It's a place where the normal rules, time, space, logic, they stop being a prison. They stop being the judge of every idea.
So when that conscious gatekeeper finally steps away for a few hours, something deeper comes out.
Exactly. And the core question we're tackling is it fundamental? Are we just listening to a random radio signal from the brain? Or can we learn how to dial the numbers, how to connect to the specific intelligence we need?
So we're really exploring the idea of programming our dream.
We are, of programming the subconscious.
Okay, let's unpack this right away because we have to start with the evidence. I mean, if dreams are just noise, why do people wake up with these brilliant solutions to problems they were completely stuck on?
And the other side of that is true too.
Right.
Even if you say, I don't recall my dreams, science shows that if you're deprived of that REM sleep, the dreaming phase, you feel completely exhausted.
Utterly wiped out.
Yeah, that exhaustion points to some crucial mental job that's not getting done. But the real power, I think, is in the historical evidence. The stories where dreams literally gave people information that changed reality.
And the lore is just full of these uncanny warnings. We've all heard them, whether we fully buy them or not, like Julius Caesar being warned about the Ides of March.
Or Abraham Lincoln supposedly dreaming of his own death just days before it happened.
Exactly.
What's so fascinating is the pattern. It seems like when a person is standing on the edge of a crisis, the dream, it just speaks louder.
It's like the urgency of the situation amplifies the signal.
It's almost like the deep self is shouting to be heard.
But, okay, here's the skeptical take. How do we know that's not just confirmation bias? Our brains are great at creating patterns after something happens.
That is a very valid point, and that's why we need to look at cases where dreams provided solutions the waking mind literally could not have come up with, where it's not just a warning, but a blueprint, an aha moment.
Like the story of Elias Howe, the inventor of the sewing machine.
Perfect example.
So Howe was stuck. He just could not figure out how to get the thread to lock properly.
He was trapped by logic, really. He assumed the hole for the thread had to be at the base of the needle, like a regular hand sewing needle.
Yes, the only way he'd ever seen it.
Right. And he tried every single configuration based on that logic, and nothing worked. His conscious mind had hit a complete wall.
Then he has this dream.
A really intense one. He dreamed he was surrounded by savages, about to be executed.
And they're raising their spears. And here is the tiny detail that changed everything.
Every single spear had a hole near the sharp point, the tip.
He wakes up and just realizes the solution wasn't complicated. It was just counterintuitive. Put the hole at the tip of the needle.
And that one insight, which his conscious logic could never get to, it unlocked the entire design. It's the basis for every sewing machine we have today.
But this guidance isn't always just about, physics or mechanics. Sometimes it's about life, about things that seem totally random.
Well, we have this incredible story of a researcher. He was financially desperate, completely frustrated with his studies in psychology.
Just overwhelmed.
Yeah, he was trying to sort through Freud, Jung, Adler, all these conflicting theories, and he threw his books down. He was ready to quit.
He falls asleep in that state of despair. And what happens?
He wakes up a few hours later, not from a story dream, but from this intense visual, just a bright light. And in the light, two numbers flashing back and forth.
What were the numbers?
343 and 373.
And he just dismisses it.
At first, yeah. He figures it's just stress. But the feeling, the significance of it just kind of stuck with him.
Okay.
So days later, he's out with a friend buying some cheap cleaning alcohol near a bridge. And his friend points to a little shop. And right there in the window is a lottery ticket with the number 343 on it.
Oh. Talk about a synchronicity.
And he buys the tickets. And weeks later, he wins 10,000 pesos.
Which was?
Exactly the amount he needed to get stable and continue his work. And it left him with this question. Was that just insane luck, or was I tapping into something else?
A system of cause and effect that we just can't see with our normal waking eyes.
Exactly. And that raises the huge question, is this stuff supernatural? Is it purely scientific? Our sources suggest we actually don't have to pick a side. We can approach this with a framework that makes sense.
Okay, let's get into that mechanism. Let's move from the stories to the how.
So layer one, we can call it the uncensored laboratory.
The uncensored laboratory, I like that.
Think about it. During the day, your conscious mind is like, it's the traffic police. It's enforcing logic, making sure every thought stays in its lane.
The ultimate editor, always telling you why an idea won't work.
Precisely. Neurologically, it's your prefrontal cortex doing its job. But at night, the police are tired, the editor's gone home, and you get this free flow of memories, thoughts, feelings.
And that state.
The mind can suddenly connect bits of data that consciousness would have dismissed as irrelevant, like the weird look of a truck loaded with beans, or the specific design of a spear tip.
Okay, so the mind stops editing itself. That's step one.
Right. Then you have layer two, which is the incubation mechanism. This is all about problem solving.
Okay.
So when you're wrestling with a problem, you're loading all that data into your mind. Sleep is like, it's the process of kneading the dough. You're mixing all the ingredients until suddenly a solution just rises.
And the big advantage is that the sleeping mind isn't under pressure to be right immediately.
Exactly. It can run a million simulations without judgment.
Okay, that makes sense for processing data you already have, like the sewing machine.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the lottery numbers? That seems like information the researcher didn't have.
It does, and that's the bridge we have to cross. That takes us to layer three.
Layer 3.
This moves beyond just processing. We can call it high-level wisdom, or maybe a better term is the observer state.
The observer state.
The names change depending on the tradition. Right?
Yeah.
Some call it divine favor, the deep self, the universe. But the experience is the same. You access a level of understanding that doesn't need a long argument. It's a feeling of just knowing.
And how does that connect back to something like science or causality?
Because what we call random chance or coincidence is often just a really complex chain of causes and effects that we can't perceive.
We only see a tiny piece of the puzzle.
Exactly. The observer state sees the whole system. It saw the researcher's financial stress, his intellectual block, and the external opportunities for a solution, like that lottery ticket vendor. And it presented the answer in the simplest language possible. 2 numbers.
So programming the dream is really about creating the conditions for that observer state to give you its report. You're focusing it on your problem.
You're focusing it, yes. And that leads us right into the practical steps.
This is what everyone listening wants to know.
Mm-hmm.
How can you start doing this tonight? But the sources are clear. The very first step isn't about control.
Not at all.
It's about remembering. Most people who say, I don't dream, are wrong. They just don't remember.
And that recall is the foundation for everything else. So step 1 is dream recall. It's simple. Before you sleep, you state your intention. You say it out loud. I want to remember a dream. I will remember a dream.
That sounds almost too simple.
But it directs your subconscious. And the tool is just as simple.
Yep.
Pen and paper right by the bed.
You have to write it down immediately the second you wake up.
Immediately. This is where most people fail. You're training a very specific memory muscle. If you wait 5 minutes, the logical mind comes roaring back, dismisses it all as nonsense, and the dream is gone.
Even if it's just a feeling or a single image.
Especially if it's just a feeling. Write it down.
Okay, so once you've built that muscle, what's next?
Step 2 is topic programming. This is where you ask the right question. And it requires real seriousness. You focus your mind on a problem that is genuinely important in your life right now.
The seriousness of your intent matters.
It's reflected directly in the dream's response. You state a clear affirmation. I want a dream with information to help solve this problem. I will have that dream, I will remember it, and I will understand it.
Now, the sources give a really critical warning here. Avoid foolish questions.
Because they invite foolish answers.
What's the difference? What's a foolish question versus a good one?
A foolish question is passive. It's asking the universe to do the work for you, like, will I be rich next year? Or, who is my soulmate?
It's asking for a gamble.
Exactly. A good question is active and about process. It's, what is the most important financial step I can take this quarter? Or, what fear is blocking me from communicating with my partner? It's asking for clarity, not for a magic answer.
That's a fantastic distinction. The quality of the input determines the quality of the output.
It really does.
Which brings us to step 3, intuitive interpretation. This isn't about, complex Freudian psychoanalysis.
Right. You can set that aside for this process. Since you actively programmed the dream to solve a current problem, the meaning is usually pretty close to the surface. It's not trying to trick you.
So you're not asking, what does this symbol hide? You're asking, what does this symbol show me?
Precisely. So you wake up, you write down the dream, and then you ask yourself 3 simple questions. First, what was the most outstanding or repeated detail?
Okay.
Second, what was the strongest emotion I felt? And third, and this is key, is this dream pointing me toward a specific action?
Ah, so it might not be the answer itself, but the next step to find the answer?
It could be a directive. It's telling you what to do next.
And to connect this all back for you, the listener, the goal here isn't to literally win the lottery. It's to win the lottery of life.
It's about getting the clarity you need to make the right decisions, to avoid that accident, to solve those problems that logic just can't seem to untangle.
This whole deep dive, it really shows that the night isn't about turning life off. It's about opening a different door.
Dreams are the land where you're freed from that prison of logic. You get to touch something deeper, something like actionable clarity.
So the goal of mastering this, it's not about rigid control. It's mastery through understanding.
When you understand, you're free. When you're free, you can choose. And when you choose wisely, you change your life.
So don't see your dreams as junk film anymore. Think of them as a letter sent to you from your deepest self.
From that observer state. And starting tonight, you can learn not just to get the letter, but to write the address on the envelope so it gets you right on time.
The big takeaway here is the realization that there is a genuine problem-solving intelligence active inside you, even when you're fast asleep.
You just have to train yourself to listen to the self that is always awake.